The medal felt heavy in Nayuna's hand. Gold and silver with ribbons that meant something to people who hadn't been there. The ceremony hall was full of cameras and important people in fancy uniforms. They all smiled at her. They called her a hero. Yuna didn't feel like a hero. Heroes weren't supposed to remember the screaming. "Commander Na," Admiral Kim Tae-young said, shaking her hand one more time for the cameras. "You've served humanity with honor. Now go home, be a kid again." Yuna nodded because that's what they wanted, but she couldn't remember how to be a kid. She'd been 13 when they gave her a ship, 14 when she commanded a fleet, 15 when she won the Battle of Kepler Station and lost half her crew doing it. Now she was 16 and didn't know what 16 was supposed to feel like. The car ride home was quiet. Her mother sat beside her, crying softly. "Happy tears," she said. Yuna didn't cry anymore. She'd forgotten how somewhere between the third battle and the fourth, Seoul looked different. Clean. Whole. During the war, half the city had been evacuated. Now people walked around carrying shopping bags and laughing. Children played in parks. Nobody looked at the sky waiting for ships that wouldn't come. "You start school Monday," her mother said. "I enrolled you at Hansong High. It's a good school. Normal kids. You'll make friends." Yuna tried to remember what that word meant. Monday morning came too fast. Yuna stood in front of her closet staring at the uniform. Blue and white. No rank insignia. No armor plating. Just cloth that couldn't stop anything. She put it on wrong 3 times before her mother helped her. The tie was impossible. On a ship, everyone wore jumpsuits with magnetic seals. Simple. Efficient. This uniform made no tactical sense. The school was loud. That was Yuna's first thought when she walked through the gates. Hundreds of students talking, laughing, shouting. Music played from someone's phone. A group of boys kicked a ball back and forth. Girls clustered together looking at screens. Yuna's hand went to her hip where her sidearm used to be. Not there. Civilians didn't carry weapons. She knew that. But her body didn't. "You must be Nayuna." A girl bounced over, ponytail swinging. Big smile. "I'm Lee Minha. I'm your peer mentor. That means I help you find your classes and stuff. This is so exciting. I've never met a real soldier before." Soldier, not commander. Not fleet admiral. Just soldier. Yuna supposed that was accurate. "Hi," Yuna said. Her voice came out flat. Minya's smile flickered but held. "Come on. I'll show you around. First period is history. You'll love Mr. Kang, he's super nice." "Do you like history? Wait, you probably made history, that's so cool." Minya talked the entire walk. Yuna processed the layout instead of listening. 3 exits on this floor. Windows too high to jump from without injury. 47 students visible in the hallway. None showed threat indicators. She was doing it again. Assessing, analyzing. Lieutenant Kang Sora said she needed to stop. "You're home, Commander. Nothing's going to attack you here." But Yuna had thought she was safe before. Right before the bombs, history class was strange. They talked about wars that happened hundreds of years ago. Wars where people died slowly, where communication took days, where nobody fought in space. The teacher, Mr. Kang, asked about tactics. 3 hands went up. One boy said, "They should have used the high ground." Yuna's own hand raised before she could stop it. The high ground doesn't matter if you can't hold supply lines. The southern position controlled the river. Terrain advantage means nothing if your troops starve. The class went quiet. Everyone stared at her. "That's very insightful," Mr. Kang said carefully. "Have you studied military history?" "I've studied staying alive," Yuna said, then realized how that sounded. I read a lot." Mina grabbed her arm after class. "That was amazing. You're so smart. Hey, we have a group project in literature next week. Want to be in my group?" A group project. Yuna pulled out her datapad to make notes. "Is that military equipment?" a boy asked. He was tall, with glasses and a student council badge. "I'm Park Junho. You're the girl from the news." "The war hero. Former Commander Nayuna," she said automatically, then caught herself. "Just Yuna." Junho looked at her datapad. "We're not supposed to bring outside electronics. School policy." "I'll get a regular notebook," Yuna said, but she didn't know where to buy one. Supplies on ships came from requisitions. Lunch was worse than class. The cafeteria was chaos. No order to the lines. People pushed and shoved. Voices echoed off the walls, hundreds of conversations at once. Yuna stood in the doorway, heart racing. Too many people. Too many exits to cover. Her back was exposed. Anyone could— Yuna. Over here. Minya waved from a table. Yuna forced herself to walk over. She sat with her back to the wall. Better. She could see the whole room now. These are my friends. This is Hana and that's Jiwoo and the one playing on his phone is Minho. Guys, this is Yuna. They all said hi. Yuna nodded. So, Hana said, leaning forward. Is it true you commanded a whole fleet? At 14? Yes. That's insane. What was it like? What was it like? How did Yuna explain standing on a bridge while people died on her orders? How did she describe watching ships explode, knowing each flash of light was 100 souls gone? It was necessary, Yuna said. The table went quiet. Wrong answer, apparently. The food here is really good, Mina said quickly, trying to save the moment. The kimchi jjigae is the best. Yuna looked at her tray. She'd taken portions based on optimal nutrition, not taste. Protein, carbohydrates, vitamins. The same calculation she'd made for 3 years. After lunch, something happened in the hallway. A loud bang. Someone dropped their books. Yuna moved without thinking. She swept Minha's legs, dropping her to the floor. Covered her body. Scanned for threats. Hand reaching for a weapon that wasn't there. Yuna, what? Minya struggled underneath her. Everyone stared again. Whispered. Yuna stood up slowly, helping Minha to her feet. I'm sorry, Yuna said. I thought, but she couldn't explain. How could she tell them that every loud noise was artillery fire in her head? That her body thought they were under attack? It's okay, Mina said, but she looked scared. Of Yuna. The rest of the day blurred. Classes she didn't care about. Subjects that seemed pointless. What did algebra matter when you'd calculated missile trajectories in your head? Why memorize poetry when you'd written condolence letters to 40 families? After school, Yuna found an empty classroom and sat in the dark. She pulled out her data pad and opened her files. Ship rosters, battle reports, names of the dead. This was familiar. This made sense. Her phone buzzed. Sora, how was day 1, Commander? Don't call me that anymore, Yuna said. Old habits. How was it? I scared someone, Minha. She was helping me and I scared her. Sora was quiet for a moment. It gets easier, does it? Yuna asked. Or do you just get better at pretending? I don't know yet, Sora admitted. I'm still figuring it out, too. After they hung up, Yuna sat in the dark a while longer. Through the window, she could see students leaving, laughing, living. They made it look so easy. She'd commanded fleets across star systems. She'd defeated enemies that thought humans were weak. She'd survived things that should have killed her. But sitting here watching normal people do normal things, Yuna realized something terrifying. She had no idea how to be one of them. The war was over. Humanity had won. So why did Yuna feel like she'd lost something she could never get back? She picked up her bag and walked home through streets that felt like foreign territory. Above her, the sky was empty of ships. It should have felt peaceful. Instead, it felt wrong. Yuna wondered if anything would ever feel right again. Yuna decided to approach school like a military operation. That was her mistake, though she wouldn't realize it for 3 more weeks. She spent the weekend creating files. Every student in her classes got a profile. Names, behaviors, social connections, potential threat levels. It was what she'd done before every negotiation during the war. Know your enemy. Know your allies. Know everyone in between. Except these weren't enemies. They were just kids. Monday morning, Yuna arrived early. She'd studied the school map and found the most efficient routes between classes, 7 minutes between periods. Optimal path would save 45 seconds daily. Those seconds could matter in an emergency. You're here early, Park Junho said. He was opening the student council room. Preparation prevents problems, Yuna said. Junho smiled slightly. That's a military saying, isn't it? It's a survival saying. He studied her for a moment. You know, most students try to do the bare minimum. You're treating school like boot camp. I don't know how else to treat it, Yuna admitted. Something shifted in Junho's expression. Less judgment, more curiosity. The debate tournament is next month. We need partners. You interested? What do we debate? This year's topic is ethics in warfare. They picked it because of the peace treaty. Yuna felt her jaw tighten. People who've never fought shouldn't debate war. Maybe that's exactly why they should, Junho said. Different perspectives. Before Yuna could answer, other students arrived. The moment broke. In literature class, the group project started. Yuna Minha and two others, Choi Daeho and Kim Sujin. We're analyzing themes in classical poetry, Mina explained. Everyone picks one poem and we present together. I'll create the presentation structure, Yuna said, opening her data pad. Optimal format is introduction, 3 main points with supporting evidence, and conclusion. We'll need visual aids. I can coordinate. Whoa, Daeho interrupted. Slow down. We just started. Efficiency matters. If we structure now, execution is easier. It's just a school project, Sujin said. Not a battle plan. But Yuna had already created a timeline. Tasks, deadlines, contingencies. She sent it to everyone's phones. They stared at their screens. This is really detailed, Mina said carefully. Is there a problem? Yuna asked. It's just, we usually figure things out as we go. That's inefficient, Daeho laughed, but not kindly. You're kind of weird, you know that? Yuna did know that. But she didn't know how to be anything else. That afternoon, she noticed Daeho watching her. Not friendly watching. Calculating watching. She'd seen that look before on enemy commanders trying to find weaknesses. You're the war hero, right? He said after class, blocking her path. I'm Yuna. My dad was in the war, Marines. He came back missing a leg and half his mind. Daeho stepped closer. Meanwhile, heroes like you get medals and news coverage. Funny how that works. I'm sorry about your father, Yuna said, and meant it. Sure you are. He walked away. Yuna added a note to his profile. Personal trauma related to conflict, potential hostile intentions. Then she felt guilty for thinking of a classmate in tactical terms. The debate tournament came faster than expected. Yuna and Junho were paired together for the preliminary round. The topic: should child soldiers be prosecuted as war criminals? Yuna's hands went cold. You okay? Junho whispered as they took their positions. Fine, she lied. The opposing team started. 2 senior students, confident and prepared. They argued that children couldn't consent to war. Therefore, anyone who commanded child soldiers committed crimes against humanity. They had no idea one of those commanders sat across from them. Junho responded calmly, talking about context and necessity. Good arguments, logical. Distant. Then it was Yuna's turn. She stood up, looked at the judges, at the audience. At Junho, you want to know about child soldiers? Yuna said, I was one. At 13, I commanded a ship. At 14, a fleet. I gave orders that killed people. I watched my crew die. The room went silent. Was it wrong? Yes. Did we have a choice? No, the enemy didn't care how old we were. They saw humans, targets. We could either train everyone who could, fight or watch everyone die. Her voice stayed. Level. Clinical. The way she reported casualty. Numbers. You ask if I should be prosecuted, fine. Arrest me. But first explain what else we should have done. Tell the families of the people I saved that their children should be dead, because using young commanders was unethical. Tell them ethics mattered more than survival. She sat down. Nobody spoke. They lost the debate. Yuna knew they would. She'd broken every rule. Let emotion through. Made it personal. That was powerful, Junho said afterward. Terrible debating, but powerful. I told the truth. The truth doesn't always win debates. Then debates are pointless. Junho looked at her. Really looked at her. You don't think we deserve to argue about war, do you? Those of us who didn't fight, you can argue about anything. It's just, Yuna struggled for words. It's different when it's not theoretical. When you remember faces. Teach me, Junho said suddenly. What? Teach me what it was really like. Not the news version, the truth. Before Yuna could answer, shouting erupted down the hall, Daeho's voice angry. You think you're special? You think that uniform makes you better than us? Yuna ran toward the sound. A crowd had formed. Daeho stood in the center, face red, fists clenched. You're not a hero, he spat. You're a propaganda piece. A fake. Daeho, stop, Minha pleaded. You want to know what real heroes look like? They come home broken. They don't get perfect grades and special treatment. He shoved someone hard. The someone was Yuna. Everything happened in 2 seconds. Yuna's body moved on instinct. Muscle memory from 1,000 combat drills. She caught his arm, twisted, used his momentum against him. One fluid motion. Daeho hit the ground. Yuna's hand was on his throat before conscious thought caught up. She looked down. Daeho stared up at her, eyes wide with fear. Oh no. Yuna let go. Stepped back. Her hands shook. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't mean it, but the damage was done. Everyone had seen. The whole cafeteria watched the war hero nearly choke a classmate. Daeho scrambled away. Nobody stopped him. Yuna, Junho said carefully, approaching like she was a bomb. You need to come with me. Principal's office, she nodded. Didn't trust her voice. The walk felt like a death march. Students parted around her. Whispered. Stared. Monster. That's what they were thinking. She could feel it. In the principal's office, Lieutenant Sora was already there. She must have been called immediately. Commander, Sora said, then caught herself. Yuna, are you hurt? I hurt someone. He shoved you first. Self-defense. It wasn't defense. It was, what was it? Training, reflex, programming. It was what I am. The principal cleared his throat. Miss Na, we understand your situation is unique. However, violence cannot be tolerated. She's trained to react to physical threats, Sora interrupted. You put the mandatory counseling office smelled like tea and old books. Yuna sat on a chair that was too soft, across from a woman who smiled too much. I'm Dr. Han, the woman said. You can call me Yunji. I work with veterans transitioning to civilian life. I'm not a veteran. I'm 16. You're both. Yuna had no argument for that. Tell me about your week, Dr. Han said. I almost strangled a classmate. Now I'm here. Let's back up. What happened before that moment? Yuna explained. The profiles. The efficiency plans. Daeho's anger. The shove. Her reaction. You're trying to control everything, Dr. Han observed. Control keeps people alive. In war, yes. In high school? It's still necessary. Dr. Han leaned forward. Yuna, what are you afraid will happen if you let go? The question hit harder than expected. What was she afraid of? That I'll forget, Yuna said quietly. That if I become normal, I'll forget them. My crew, the ones who died. Healing doesn't mean forgetting, doesn't it? Everyone wants me to move on. Be a regular kid. But regular kids didn't watch their friends burn. Dr. Han didn't flinch, didn't offer empty comfort. You're right. They didn't. And that separates you from them, but it doesn't have to isolate you. They talked for an hour. It didn't fix anything. But somehow Yuna felt lighter walking out. Outside the office, someone waited. Not Sora this time, a girl Yuna didn't recognize. Short hair, quiet eyes. She looked up from her book. Na Yuna? The girl asked. Yes. I'm Yunhae, transfer student. I heard about what happened. Great, everyone had heard. Yuna's humiliation was school-wide news. I wanted to tell you something, Hyan continued. I was on Colony 7. When the enemy attacked, I was 12. I survived by hiding in the walls for 6 days while they burned the settlement. Yuna went still. Colony 7. She remembered the reports. Civilian casualties in the thousands. I don't have your training, Hyan said. But I understand what it's like. Coming back here. Everyone expecting you to be fine. To just move on. They don't understand, Yuna said. No, but that's not their fault. How could they? Hyan held out a piece of paper. There's a support group. Young people affected by the war. I go sometimes. Thought you might want to come. Yuna took the paper. An address. Meeting times. Do you still have nightmares? She asked. Every night, Hyan said. But they're getting quieter. After Hyan left, Yuna looked at the paper for a long time. Then she put it in her pocket. That evening, her mother made dinner. Too much food, like always. Trying to make up for the years Yuna ate rations. How was counseling? Her mother asked. Okay, that's good. Yuna, I don't know how to help you. Yuna looked up. Her mother was crying. Not happy tears this time. I'm trying, Yuna said. I know you are, baby. But I'm your mother. I should be able to fix this. And I can't. Nobody can fix it, Mom. It's just there. Part of me now. Her mother reached across the table, took her hand. When you were little, you wanted to be a teacher. Did you know that? Yuna didn't remember that. Didn't remember much before the war. You'd line up your stuffed animals and teach them numbers. You were so gentle with them. Her mother's voice broke, and then they took you and made you into something else. They didn't make me. I volunteered. You were a child. I was a child who could save people. They sat in silence, holding hands across the table. Two people who loved each other but lived in different worlds. The next week, Yuna went back to school. She'd expected whispers, stares. She got them, but she also got something else. Park Junho met her at the gate. Welcome back. You don't have to do this, Yuna said. Do what? Pretend you're not afraid of me. Everyone else is, Junho considered this. I'm not afraid of you. I'm afraid for you. There's a difference. Before Yuna could process that, Lee Minha appeared. Awkward smile. Nervous energy, hi, Mina said. I'm sorry I've been weird. It's just, I didn't know how to act around you. But I want to try. Being friends. For real. Why? Yuna asked. Because you apologized. After the cafeteria. You didn't have to, but you did. That means something. In class, even Daeho approached her. He didn't look angry anymore. He looked tired. My dad told me what you did, he said quietly. Battle of Kepler Station. The medical transports. He was on one, Yuna remembered. 3 transports full of wounded. Impossible to defend and evacuate civilians. She'd made the choice. Hold position until transports cleared, even if it meant losing her own ships. Half her fleet died buying time for those transports. I'm sorry, Daeho said, for what I said. You were right, Yuna interrupted. I do get special treatment. Your father sacrificed too. He just didn't get cameras. But you saved him. You saved a lot of people. And got a lot of people killed doing it. They stood there. 2 kids carrying weight too heavy for their years. I don't know how to make this right, Daeho said. Me either. Maybe that was enough. Admitting neither of them had answers, the announcement came during lunch. Special assembly. Mandatory attendance. In the auditorium, the principal stood with someone unexpected. A Vexian. Tall crystalline features, translator device at their throat. The enemy. Here, at school. Yuna's heart rate spiked. She forced herself to breathe. Students, the principal began, as part of the Treaty of Andromeda, were participating in an interspecies exchange program. Our guest is Ambassador Thalrix, who will be visiting our school for 6 weeks. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some excited, some scared. Yuna just stared. She knew that name. Knew that face. Ambassador Thalrix had been Commander Thalrix during the war. They'd faced each other across battlefields twice, the second time at Kepler Station, where Yuna won and Thalrix retreated, where hundreds died. Their eyes met across the auditorium. Recognition flickered in those alien features. Yuna's hands gripped the chair until her knuckles went white. Furthermore, the principal continued, each ambassador will be assigned a student liaison. These students will help orient our guests to human culture. No, please no. Our liaison for Ambassador Thalrix will be Nayuna. The world tilted. Every student turned to look at her. Junya whispered something. Mina reached for her hand. Yuna stood up and walked out. She didn't run. That would be weakness. But she walked fast. Out of the auditorium. Out of the building. Across the courtyard to the memorial wall where names of the dead were carved. She found the ones she was looking for. Her crew. Her family. I can't do this, she whispered to the names. I can't face them. Not them. Footsteps behind her. She didn't turn. Commander Na, a translated voice said. Crystalline harmonics made human through technology. Don't call me that. My apologies. Yuna. She turned. Ambassador Thalrix stood there, carefully distant. Respectful, you knew, Yuna said. You knew I'd be here? Yes. And you came anyway. The war is over. We must try to build something better. My crew is dead because of you. My child is dead because of you. The words hung between them. Truth without accusation. Just fact. Yuna felt tears coming. She couldn't cry, not here, not in front of them. I can't be your liaison, she said. I understand. I will request. You fought with honor, Yuna interrupted. At Kepler Station. You could have destroyed the transports. You didn't. Thalrix's features shifted. Something that might have been pain. They were non-combatants. Even in war, some lines should not be crossed. But we crossed so many others. Yes, we did. They stood together at the memorial wall. Former enemies. Current strangers. Future something else. I heard you were struggling, Thalrix said, adapting to peace. I wanted you to know. So am I. Every day I work for peace, and every night I dream of battle. Of my child's ship exploding. Of the choices that led there. Does it get better? I don't know yet. But perhaps we can figure it out together. Lieutenant Sora found them there 20 minutes later. She assessed the situation immediately. Ambassador, Commander, should I be concerned? No, Yuna said. We're just talking about How hard it is, Thalric said, to be warriors without a war. Sora nodded slowly. Yeah, it really is. That night, Yuna went to the support group. The address Heian had given her led to a community center basement. Folding chairs in a circle. Coffee that tasted terrible. 8 young people sat there. Different ages. Different stories. Same shadows in their eyes. Heian waved her over. Everyone, this is Yuna. She's new. Hi, Yuna said. Tell us something about yourself, the group leader suggested. An older veteran, 30s maybe. Missing an arm. I don't know where to start. Start anywhere, a boy said. Younger than Yuna. Maybe 14. We're all messed up here. It's okay, so Yuna talked. About the war. About coming home. About almost hurting Deho. About facing Thalrix today. She talked and they listened. And when she finished, nobody offered solutions. Nobody said it would be fine. A girl across the circle just said, "That sounds really hard." And somehow that was enough. Walking home, Yuna felt something strange. Not happiness. Not peace, but less alone. Her phone buzzed. Text from Junho. Heard you walked out of assembly. You okay? She typed back, getting there. Want company tomorrow? I can meet you before school. Yuna paused. Then, yeah. I'd like that. Above her, stars filled the night sky. The same stars she'd navigated by. The same space she'd fought through. But down here on Earth, with its messy school and complicated people and impossible healing, maybe she could find a different kind of battle, one she might actually win. The next morning, Unyo waited at the school gate like he'd promised. He held 2 cups of coffee. Thought you might need this, he said, offering one. Yuna took it. Too sweet. She drank it anyway. Thank you, she said. For yesterday. The text, that's what friends do. Friends. The word still felt foreign, but less so than before. They walked into school together. Students stared less this time. Or maybe Yuna noticed less. Small improvements. In homeroom, an announcement crackled over the speakers. Now Yuna, please report to the counseling office. Junho squeezed her shoulder. You've got this. Dr. Han waited in her office, but she wasn't alone. Ambassador Thalric sat in the second chair. Before you leave, Dr. Han said quickly, hear me out. I spoke with Ambassador Thalrix. They have a proposal. Yuna sat slowly, keeping distance between herself and the Vexian. You don't want to be my liaison, Thalric said. I understand, but perhaps we could help each other differently. How? I need to understand humans better. You need to process what happened during the war. Perhaps we could talk, honestly, about what we experienced, what we lost. That sounds like torture. It might be healing, Dr. Han suggested. Facing the source of trauma with honesty can sometimes reduce its power. Or make it worse, Yuna said. That's possible, Thalrix acknowledged. But I'm willing to try if you are. I cannot change the past. But I can try to understand the people I fought against. And perhaps you can understand us. Yuna looked at Dr. Han. Is this actually therapeutic? It's unconventional. But yes, it could be. You both carry similar burdens. That shared understanding might help. Yuna thought about the support group. How just being around people who understood had helped. Maybe this was similar. Okay, she said. But not here. Somewhere neutral. They chose the school library after hours, empty, quiet, safe. The first session was awkward. They sat across a table, neither speaking. Finally, Thalrix broke the silence. Tell me about your crew. The ones who died at Kepler Station. Why? Because I should know their names. I made decisions that killed them. The least I can do is know who they were. So Yuna told them. About Lieutenant Park Sungjin, who made terrible jokes during red alerts. About Ensign Kim Youngmi, who was only 3 months older than Yuna and dreamed of being a musician. About 23 others, each with their own stories. Thalrix listened. Didn't interrupt. When Yuna finished, they said, my child was named Kelrix. They wanted to be a builder, not a soldier. But war doesn't care what we want. How old? 17 in your years. Almost the same age as Yuna now. A child like her. Forced into war. I'm sorry, Yuna said. As am I. For all of them. They talked for 2 hours. About strategy and sacrifice. About the choices that haunt you. About wondering if there was another way, if you'd just been smarter or faster or braver. Do you hate me? Yuna asked. No, Thalrix said. I hate what happened. I hate that we were enemies. But hate you personally? No, you fought for your people. I fought for mine. That's what soldiers do. But we were kids. Yes, that's the true crime. Not how you fought, but that you had to fight at all. Walking home that night, Yuna felt strange. Lighter, maybe. Or just different. At school, things slowly shifted. The exchange program brought more Vexian students. Some humans protested. A group led by a senior named Han Minsu organized demonstrations. They killed our families, Minsu shouted in the courtyard. And now we're supposed to welcome them? Yuna understood his anger. She felt it too. But she also remembered Thalrix's pain. Remembered that grief wasn't unique to humans. The protests grew larger, more aggressive. Yuna watched from the sidelines, trying to stay uninvolved. Then she noticed something. Minsu's group was organizing too well. Moving with precision, creating choke points, blocking exits, tactical movements, pre-battle positioning. They were planning something. Yuna pulled out her phone, texted Junho, checked the protest schedule. When's the next demonstration? Tomorrow after school. Why? I think they're planning violence. You sure? Yuna looked at the way protesters moved. She'd commanded soldiers. She knew what pre-combat positioning looked like, I'm sure. That night she analyzed everything. Social media posts, protest patterns, location choices. The pieces fit together into an ugly picture, an attack on the Vexian students. Nothing lethal, but enough to cause an incident. To break the peace treaty's goodwill, she should tell authorities. Let adults handle it, but by the time officials investigated, it might be too late. Yuna called Junho, then Minha, then hesitantly, Deho, I need your help, she told them. Tomorrow something bad is going to happen. I can stop it, but not alone. What do you need? Hunyo asked immediately. Trust me, and do exactly what I say. The next day, Yuna positioned her friends strategically. Hunho near the main exit, Minha at the side entrance, Deho watching the protesters, Hyun ready to get help if needed. They wore earpieces connected to Yuna's phone. Improvised communication. This feels like we're in a spy movie, Minha whispered. Stay focused, Yuna said. If I'm wrong, we all look stupid. If I'm right, we stop something terrible. The protest started normally. Chanting, signs. The Vexian students stayed inside, protected by school security. But security wasn't watching the right places. Yuna saw it unfold in real time. Minsu's group splitting off, moving toward the back entrance where Vexian students would leave. Carrying bags that looked heavy. Mina, block the back exit, Yuna commanded. Politely. Say there's a gas leak. On it. Junho, redirect foot traffic away from the courtyard. Make it look natural. How? Student council emergency. Fire drill, anything. She watched her friends move. They weren't trained. Weren't soldiers, but they trusted her. Minsu's group reached the blocked exit. Confusion, anger. They tried another route. Deho, they're coming toward you. Can you slow them down? How? Be intimidating. You're good at that. Through the earpiece, she heard Deho step in front of the group. Hey Minsu, we need to talk. Get out of the way. No, it bought 30 seconds. Enough time for Yuna to reach the Vexian students. Ambassador Thalrix, she said quickly. You need to leave now, different exit. What's happening? Trust me. Thalrix looked at her. Saw something in her expression. Everyone come with me, quickly. They moved as Minsu's group broke past Deho, too late. Their targets were gone. Minsu saw Yuna standing there, realized immediately what she'd done. You, he snarled. Traitor. I prevented violence, went there the enemy. The war is over, Yuna said quietly. We can choose to keep fighting or we can choose something better. I'm choosing better. Security arrived then, alerted by Junho, found Minsu's bags. Smoke bombs. Paint. Supplies meant for intimidation and chaos. It could have been so much worse. Later, in the principal's office, Yuna expected punishment. She'd organized students, operated without authorization, took matters into her own hands. Instead, the principal looked tired. How did you know? I recognized the patterns. Military tactics, you could have told us. Would you have believed me? Or would you have thought I was paranoid? Damaged? The principal had no answer. Miss Na, he finally said, what you did today was dangerous, and brave, and probably saved lives. Ambassador Thalrix stepped forward. She protected us, former enemies, when she had every reason to let harm happen. Why did you do it? The principal asked. Yuna thought about her crew, about Thalrix's child, about all the death she'd seen. Because I'm tired of people dying, she said. Even people I have reasons to hate. Especially them. If we can't protect each other now, then what did we fight for? The story spread. Within hours, everyone knew. The war hero who protected alien students, who chose peace over revenge. Opinions split. Some called her a traitor. Some called her brave. Yuna didn't care much about either label. She just felt tired. That evening, the support group met. Yuna told them what happened. You did good, the group leader said. That was real courage. Facing the past and choosing differently. It didn't feel courageous. It felt necessary. That's what courage usually feels like. Walking home, Yuna found Junho waiting. Hey, he said. Thought you might want company. You don't have to keep doing this, I know. I want to. They walked in silence for a while. Then Junho said, I was wrong about you. At first I thought you just needed to adjust. Learn to be normal. But you don't need to be normal. You need to be you. I don't know who that is anymore. Maybe that's okay. Maybe we all figure it out as we go. Yuna looked at him. Really looked. Saw someone who'd stuck by her through everything. Who'd helped without expecting anything back. Thank you, she said. For everything. That's what friends do, Junho said and smiled. Above them, stars started appearing as twilight deepened. The same stars. But down here, something was different. Something was changing. Yuna was changing, and maybe, just maybe, that was okay. The nightmares came back with force. Yuna woke up screaming. Again. Third time this week. Her mother ran in, turned on lights, held her while she shook. It's okay, baby. You're home. You're safe, but Yuna didn't feel safe. She felt like she was drowning in a sea of faces. Her crew, Thalrix's child, everyone she'd killed. Everyone she'd failed to save. School became harder. She drifted through classes, not really present. Her grades dropped. Teachers gave concerned looks. Yuna, Dr. Han said gently during their session. You're getting worse, not better. I know. What changed? Everything. Nothing. I thought I could move on. But facing Thalrix protecting the Vexians, it brought everything back. I can't escape it. You're not supposed to escape it. You're supposed to process it. What if I can't? What if I'm just broken? Dr. Han leaned forward. You're not broken. You're wounded. There's a difference. Broken things can't be fixed. Wounded things can heal. It doesn't feel like healing. Recovery isn't linear. Sometimes you get worse before you get better. But Yuna was tired of getting worse. Tired of fighting invisible enemies in her own head. Then Admiral Kim Tae-young appeared at her school. He found her in the library during lunch. Commander Na, we need to talk. I'm not a commander anymore. Remnant forces are mobilizing again. Small cells, but organized. We need strategic consultation. You're one of 3 people who successfully defeated them. I'm a high school student. You're also the Crimson strategist. We need that mind. Yuna felt something stir inside. The part of her that knew war. The part that was good at it. I'm trying to be normal, she said, I know, and I respect that. But people will die without your help. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't critical. The old pull, duty, responsibility, the weight she'd carried for years. I'll think about it, Yuna said. But she was already calculating, analyzing, her mind spinning up like a ship's reactor. Lieutenant Sora called that night. I heard about the Admiral's visit. You knew? I'm still military liaison. Of course I knew. Yuna, you don't have to do this. What if people die because I said no? What if you break because you said yes? Yuna had no answer. At school, she was distracted. During a group presentation, she forgot her parts. Mina had to cover for her. In the hallway, she nearly walked into a door. You okay? Yunyo asked. Define okay. He pulled her into an empty classroom. Talk to me, so she told him. About the Admiral. About the choice. About feeling torn between 2 worlds. What do you want to do? Hunyo asked. I don't know. Part of me misses it. The clarity. In war, you know who the enemy is. You know your mission. Here, everything's complicated. War is only clear from far away. Up close, it's just as messy as peace. But I'm good at war. I don't know if I'm good at this. You saved Vexian students from being attacked. You're figuring out how to be a friend. You're trying every day. That's good at this, Yuna wanted to believe him. But that night the Admiral's offer glowed on her phone screen like a beacon. She almost called. Almost said yes, then her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Yuna, this is Thalrix. I apologize for calling. Heian gave me your number. I heard about your dilemma. How? Your Admiral contacted our diplomatic corps. We've been discussing coordinated response to remnant forces. He mentioned wanting your consultation. And? I wanted to tell you something. After the war ended, my government asked me to return to military service, to hunt remnant cells. I said no. Why? Because I knew if I went back, I would never leave. War has gravity. It pulls you in. The longer you stay, the harder it is to escape. But you were good at it. Like me? Yes, and that's exactly the problem. Being good at something doesn't mean it's good for you. After they hung up, Yuna sat in the dark thinking. The next morning, she texted the Admiral. I'll consult remotely. Analysis only. No active duty. It was compromise. Not perfect, but possible. The remnant reports arrived encrypted. Yuna spent evenings analyzing them. Movement patterns. Supply routes. Probable targets. Her mind clicked into old grooves, comfortable, familiar, but it cost her. Sleepless nights. Increased anxiety. Jumping at loud sounds. In class, she fell asleep. Woke up shouting, reaching for weapons that weren't there. Everyone stared. Sorry, she muttered. I'm sorry. Mina followed her to the bathroom. Yuna, what's going on? I'm helping with something. For the military. Why? Because I can. Because people might die if I don't. And what about you? What if this kills you? I'm already dying, Yuna said, surprising herself with the honesty. At least this way it means something. Minha's eyes filled with tears. That's not true. You're not dying. You're healing. But you keep picking at the wound. That afternoon, during an assembly about the ongoing remnant threats, it happened. Explosions. Outside the school. Not close, but loud. Smoke rising from somewhere nearby. Panic erupted. Students screamed, ran, pushed. Yuna's mind went cold. Clear. Battle calm. Everyone listen, she shouted. Voice cutting through chaos. Command voice. The one she'd used on a bridge. Exit in rows. Seniors first, then juniors. Use the side exits, stay low. Don't run, some listened. Some didn't. But enough did to prevent stampede. Teachers tried to regain control. But students responded to Yuna. She moved through the crowd, directing traffic. Checking for injuries. Security found the source. Remnant sympathizers had bombed a cultural center 3 blocks away. Not targeting the school, but close enough to scare everyone. In the chaos, debris fell from the school's roof. Old damage from the war, shaken loose. It fell toward a group of students frozen in fear. Yuna moved. Tackled them aside. Felt something heavy hit her shoulder. Pain exploded down her arm. Then nothing. She woke up in a hospital. Bright lights. Beeping machines. Her arm in a cast, her mother sat beside the bed, red-eyed from crying. Baby, you're awake. Thank God. What happened? Concrete block hit you. Dislocated shoulder. Fractured humerus. But you saved 4 students. They're fine because of you. Yuna tried to sit up. Pain stopped her. School? Everyone else is okay. You got them out. All of them. Over the next hours, visitors came. Hunyo, bringing flowers he'd clearly panicked over. Minya crying and hugging her good arm. Taeho awkward but genuine. Hiyun quiet understanding. Even Ambassador Thalrix came. You continue to surprise me, Yuna. Most humans would have saved themselves. Most soldiers would have saved others, Yuna corrected. Exactly. Lieutenant Sora arrived last. She pulled up a chair, dismissed everyone else. Commander, she said. Don't. Commander, she repeated firmly. You need to make a choice. You can't be both. Soldier and civilian. It's tearing you apart. I don't know how to stop being a soldier. Yes, you do. You just did. You saved those kids not because of your training, but despite it. Training says assess threats first, ensure your own safety. You ignored all that. You just reacted as a person. A good person. Tears came then. Finally. Really. Not just 1 or 2, but sobs that shook her whole body. Pain from her arm. Pain from everything. Sora held her and let her cry. I can't do it anymore, Yuna gasped between sobs. I can't be the hero. I can't be the strategist. I can't carry everyone's survival. It's too heavy, then put it down. How? Start by telling the Admiral no. Yuna called him from the hospital. I can't consult anymore. I'm sorry. Find someone else. Commander, I'm not a commander. I'm 16 and I'm broken and I need to focus on not breaking further. Find someone else, please. Silence. Then, understood. Take care of yourself, Miss Na. After she hung up, Yuna felt something unexpected. Not guilt. Not relief, just space, room to breathe. Dr. Han visited that evening. I heard what happened. How you feeling? Tired, really tired. Good, that's honest. Is it weird that getting hurt was easier than normal days? Not weird, just sad. Crisis is familiar to you. Peace isn't.